This never happens in Houston, or rarely ever, but that's what happened last night. We just barely got a week or so into December. Absolutely. It even snowed on my mulch out there, wherever it's at. Yeah. Look a little bit lower. Well, whatever. Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and looks like the camera's kind of leaning a little bit, but maybe I should lean with it one way or the other. Anyway, we're going to have a different project today than what I usually do. I've been whining on here about having a round column Grizzly drill mill and how I lose X and Y whenever I lift the head up or down, and so some viewers have made suggestions, one of them being, why don't I put a laser on it? Well, that's reasonable. A year or two ago I saw some guy put a laser on pretty much the same machine I got. I don't know who it was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Cup of Joe. But I don't know. I can't remember exactly, and I don't remember how it came out. So I'm going to do it myself. They say, you know, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. So we may be repeating history here, but we're going to take this laser right here, and I've got a little rail for it. Right here is made to. We're going to hook all this up to a couple of magnets and stick it on the side of the mill drill, and we're going to shine the laser across the garage. I figure as far off as you can shine it, the better, maybe for accuracy. Now, I'm not so sure how big the dot's going to get, but if you'll take a look at this right here, say this was your protractor there, and you can see that between the marks is not very far. Say I had 10 divisions between each of those marks, well, they'd be pretty close together. But suppose I made a bigger dial and 10 divisions between each of these marks, well, I could go down and I could do half or quarter divisions real easy. Suppose I had an even bigger arc, and I've still got these marks out here, and it's a long way now. I could have like 40 little divisions there and cut things up into, you know, quarter, tenth of a degree, whatever. Even greater accuracy, right? Like the man said, give me a lever and I can measure anything. Or was that move the earth? Something like that. So I'm not going to try to move the earth, but I'm going to try to shine the laser across the garage and see if I can have enough accuracy with where it shows that I can move the head on the Grizzly mill and wind up pointing at the same spot. We'll see. I'm not saying it'll work, and I'm not saying it won't. I don't have a great deal of hope, though. But we'll find out. I've been wrong before. I remember one time I thought I was wrong and I was right. All right, let's get started on it. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, after this I'm going to take a couple of weeks off for the end of the year and the part of the new year there, just to sort of goof off and do some other things. And so if you don't see me here next Thursday or the Thursday after, I'm not sick or dead or in jail. Well, probably not anyway. And I'll be back, you know, in January, and we'll take off again where we left off. Maybe even better videos, who knows. I might come back in January and give a State of the Channel speech. After all, I'm kind of the president of the channel, and that's a January thing, right? All right, now let's get on with the video. Well, we got to cut off a piece of wood used to mount that rail on. Here we are, right back at the bandsaw. Where else? This ought to cut through really quick. One Here's our bottom piece. We'll use that. Look what a nice smooth cut that bandsaw made. Amazing, huh? Okay, the idea is to screw a couple of magnets on this board here to suck up to the side of the Grizzly, and then screw this rail onto the other side, and then take this laser and fit him onto the rail so that he can shine shine against the wall. As you can see, this is a laser that I've used before. It came on a scope. It was on a rifle scope, and so it's supposed to be kind of accurate, maybe. But I've done another stupid thing here. I discovered that my stash of magnets was down to one, and then I put it on here, and I tightened this screw down and shattered the last magnet. Now 2 or 3 days ago I ordered some more. They're coming on a slow boat from China, and here's a half of the one that I just busted in half. And so, as much as I want to do this video today, I'm obviously not going to, because I don't have anything to mount this little booger on the Grizzly with. So I guess I can spend my time straightening up the vise over there, getting it trammed in, and that'll be ready for whenever I do get the material. Sorry guys. Oh, and the other day I was whining about the watch time. I'm sure all the other channels have the exact same kind of thing. Nobody's going to watch every minute of the video. I don't even watch every minute of the other people's videos. So nobody need guilty if you don't stick through it to the end. Nobody does, really, hardly. Of course, one of the things that I have to do the videos, I've got to trim the vise so that it's nice and straight. And to do that, I'm just going to move back and forth with a dial indicator in it, or clock as our British cousins call it. It's gonna go like this back and forth till I get it right. I'm sure there's a technique that does this perfectly right off. I just don't happen to know it, so I'll just let you guys take a look at it when I get done. Okay, so I finally got it right and got it latched down, and that is other than jumping a little bit on the couple of surface imperfections, that's basically no movement. So next I'll find Y and X right there, or I could find it over here, you know, and we'll know where they are, and then we'll lift the head up, you know, 2 or 3 inches. Not too much for me to be able to come down and get the edge on it again, but at least now we know the vise isn't moving, and I don't believe the vise would really make any difference as to where the exact location of X and Y are, because the corner of it, as long as it's not moving, it should still be in the same place. You see what I mean? Anyway, we'll move on. Alright, we'll use this edge finder to, well, find the edge. Amazing how that works. Alright. Already guessed it when I started there. Alright, so it was 0 there, and then back off, just check it again. That's exactly the same place as before, So I'm pretty sure that's where Y is at. Now we'll move around and do X. Or maybe X, as I've heard it said. It's funny how different people speak English differently. I think that kicked off when I wasn't looking, so we'll come up to it again. Now let's try it one more time here. The idea being, of course, that this little end will be straight just as it touches the thing, and when you just come up against it, it'll kick off to one side. That tells you that you're touching the edge of the device. Alright, so we've established where X is, where Y is, and I'll have to change it 100 thousandths because of the thickness of that tip. Now this little tip right here is 200 thousandths diameter, so we would normally correct the zeros on the DRO by half the diameter, which would be 100 thousandth in both directions. But since we're going to move the head and then we're going to use this guy to come down and see where we are in relation to where we were before, I'm going to leave them reading 0 with this guy touching the surface on each side. That should do as much for us as anything. That way when I come back down, the 0 and the 0 should still be where they were. There you are. X and Y are zeroed. And after we move the thing, I'll move the head downwards because I don't want to run out of spindle travel here. I'll move it down a couple of inches. Just moving is moving, you know. And we'll see if we realign the thing so that I come back and I get zeros again when I touch both of those surfaces on the vise. Alright? This is a nice little rail. It's got a little dovetail here that you have on all 22 caliber, 22 long rifle caliber pistols and rifles, and it's got a regular Picatinny rail. And so I'm going to put the laser on this guy, and I'm not going to use any magnets because I went down to the Texas Art Supply and I got magnets, but these have to be super glued in the holes. And I remember the last time I did that, it wasn't too much fun. So I changed my mind and decided to get some double-sided tape. I'll screw this guy onto here, and then I put the double-sided tape on it, and it'll be more permanent than I had intended, but it'll be nice and solid, I'm pretty sure. So while you guys take another instant long electronic nap, I'll put this piece together. Alright, the laser is mounted on there with double-sided tape. And I cleaned that spot with carburetor cleaner, and it got really nice and clean, and I put 2 strips of that double-sided tape back there. It says that 8 inches of it will hold 1 pound. I'm sure that's probably 9 inches there, and that thing doesn't weigh anywhere near a pound, so it should be good and solid. Alright, now that bracket's what my Z or Z axis DRO pickup is located on. So let's look over at the wall. Let's turn this guy on, and I think you can see the dot right there. Okay, now seeing that it's not everything that there is to be done. See if I can zoom in a little bit, because you probably can't really see it. There it is there. So let's get a ruler and see how big that dot is. Alright, the camera's just below the beam of light. We'll put this ruler up there and see if we can tell. It looks to me like it's a pretty good size. It shines back in my eyes. About 2 inches over there against it. And that's probably at least 1/8 of an inch wide. So it's not a razor sharp indicator. I will now try to find something I can hang straight up and down so we know it's straight, and we'll put it in that beam of light, and then if we move the head up or down, we should still be aligned properly if I have a string hanging there, because it's going to come down straight. So back to your electronic nap. Okay, you can see the DRO is on 0, 0, and our little edge finder is over there at the corner of that edge of the vise, which is where it would be, because I didn't deduct for the thickness of the pointer, because this is where I get a 0 reading when I come up and touch it. When we move the thing, we'll come back and it's the same position. We'll get a 0 reading in again, if you understand what I'm saying. So 0, 0, and I've got the quill about, the head is set at the right size where the quill can come down far enough to use about the smallest end mill and still touch a piece of metal. And it's about as good a height setting as you're going to get for most of the stuff you do, so that you can work without having to trade a lot of things out. But I'm going to let it down some, so which means I'll raise the quill and I'll let the head down a little bit, and then we'll see how close we get to 0. Of course, we've got to turn around and look the other way first to see what the laser's doing, right? Hang on. Okay, now then, the laser is shining over the top of the camera, but as you can see the light on that string, we are pretty much centered up on that string as near as I can tell. I look at the green light back behind it, and well, it might could move over just a little. Whoops, too far. Alright, now then, I'll zoom you in against the wall and see if you can see the little shadow right in the middle of the green dot. Let me raise the camera up a bit. Crank him up. That's as high as it'll go. Zoom in on that spot. And maybe you can see the little black line running down the middle of that dot. That's, I guess, about as good an accuracy as I'm going to get. So now I'm going to go over and I'm just going to move the head down probably about 3 inches, something like that. And then we'll come over here and see what we can do about realigning it on this string, and then we'll see if it still zeroes out. Hang on to your hats. Alright, I've loosened the bolts and I'm going to try to let the head down some without moving it side to side. So, of course I can see that it's moving. Now that's, let me measure here. I had a, oh here it is. It was 6.5 inches. Let's see how much it is now. Well, that's the metric side. Now it's down to 4.5 inches. So I came down 2 inches, which is something I could probably have to do if I were wanting to put a bigger end mill in there and take a heavier cut. Okay, so let's turn the camera around. Get you guys up here close to the string. I'm not sure where the light's going to shine on the wall back behind there this time, because well, if I can get some of this stuff out of the way. Oh man. Smart move. Now I gotta wait for the thing to settle out again. There could be a lot of inconveniences to this method. Apparently that's going to be one of them. Try to get this up in the air. Doesn't be in our way. Alright, so you're going to have to take an electronic nap again while this thing settles out. I've got a Mickey Mouse thing here, Rube Goldberg, whatever, with a weight clamped onto the bottom of the string, but I hit it with that stupid piece of wood and it moved. So now we've got to wait for it to settle down, which could take another 5 minutes. It won't seem like that to you because you're going to be asleep. Alright. Our weight at the bottom of the string appears to have stopped moving at long last. So, time to turn on the laser and see where it points. It's not pointing at the string, is it? No. Let me zoom you guys in a little bit so that you can get a bird's eye view, and I can too, because I'm going to stand here and move the head and watch the viewfinder. Alright, so let me move it over a little bit. I went by the string and didn't hit it. Did it? It looks like to me it did. Ah. Let me see here. Oh, way off the string. Gotta come back. Come back, Loretta, to where you belong. Let's check that. About 3/4 of an inch away there. Let's go check again. Really moving in on it now, if I don't go past it. Ah, you see that little shiny spot on the string? Yeah. Let's see if I can see the shadow behind it. Looks like it needs to come this way a little for that shadow to be dead center. Let's see, what can I whack on to make it move a tiny bit? We'll look again. I think that's too far. Gonna have to go that way. Let me see. That's the right direction, going that way. Alright, that looks like the shadow is right in the middle of the green dot. I wonder if you can zoom in close enough to see that. I don't know, it doesn't show here. Let me walk over there and see if it'll zoom better from right up close. I think you can see a little division in the, see the little spot where the green goes upwards? That's where the dot's divided. It may not be, to the naked eye it looks to be pretty well dead center. To the camera there it might look like it's a little bit off. But still, all in all, where's my string? It's shining right on that string. And we haven't got a lot of choice here, do we? Alright, let me try to tighten down the head with the wrench and then come back and we'll see how much it moves. You guys keep an eye on it. Pierre, tell me if it moves. Pierre, you listening? Pierre, did you see it move? I don't know why I always ask Pierre when I know that Phil's the reliable one of the two. Ah well. That's the way it is when you deal with these crazy Canucks, you know. Alright, let me look. Okay, so we have moved to one side or the other. Let me put you guys almost right in front of the thing. Yeah, we've moved to the left, okay? We've moved to the left of the string. I don't know if you're even looking at it. It's just barely shining on the string there. So tightening it down caused it to move to the left. Let me back you guys up where I can watch the dot. And we'll see if I can loosen the bolts and tighten it again. Now you guys can you can meet Pierre if you haven't seen him. Look for Pierre's Garage on YouTube, and you can meet Phil. He's on Phil's projects, and you know they're really good at what they're doing. They do all kind of machine work, and they usually cooperate on it together. So, all right, I'm going to move it to the right just a little bit. I hope. You see it's getting brighter on the string, huh? And I'm going to go over here and look at it right up close. May have gone too far. Bump it back the other way some. You can see the light dance over there. No, I'm still to the left of it. So let's try again. Alright, that looks like it's about the middle. Again, let me see if it'll stay there while I tighten it down. Are you watching it, Pierre? Lay down the peppers, put down the Molson. Keep an eye on it. Alright, we check. It looks like it, I can still see the shadow, but it's a little bit, let me zoom you back out. I can still see the shadow, but it's just a little bit that side of the center of it. I don't know how long it could take to ever get it perfect. Just out of curiosity, we'll stop here and see how close we are to X and Y. Hang on. Alright, it's kicked over right now. I'm going to back off so it straightens up. And then we're going to approach it till it kicks over again. Alright, it kicked over there. Let's see what X reads when we look over here at the DRO. There's our DRO. There's X. It's reading 8.1 thousandths. Okay? So, move off of that. And let's try Y. And let's see what we get when Y breaks over. Move you guys back where you can watch this thing. I keep walking into that laser and I don't like it shining in my face. Alright, watch it and we'll see where it breaks over on Y. Alright, it broke over on Y. So, I think you can see that. And Y is within 2 10,000ths. That's not so bad. Y must be easier to keep straight than the X. So let me turn this thing off. And we'll examine the laser here one last time. You guys can see it on the string. I'll move back a little and darn it, hang on. I had the camera below the horizon so it couldn't see anything. Alright, now if I had more sensitive adjustment I probably could have got the X a lot closer than 8 thousandths. But in all that time I did that work, I probably could have swapped out my tool and put in the edge finder, found the edge, put the tool back in. 8 thousandths, oops, sorry about kicking you guys around. I always stumble over that tripod. 8 thousandths is not good enough for Randy Richards, so it can't be good enough for me. Alright, we'll talk about something else here in a second. Alright, so I guess I'll let you guys make your mind up to what you think about this thing, but the jury is definitely out for me. What's the matter, Pierre? What, the laser's in your eye? Alright, hang on. We wouldn't want to blind any Canucks, you know. That'd be unfriendly. All right, so you guys tell me, what do you think? Could that be perfected to get it dead on? Could I make some kind of a jig down here to push on the head with a screw? And probably I could. That might be worth looking into in a future video. But I'm sure that whatever I do, there'll always be those people who criticize because I didn't use fancy enough tools. There's a guy I watch on YouTube called Serpent ZA. He's moved to China, and he always wears a suit. He's out there in the heat and everything, making videos of China, and people ask him why he wears a suit. He said because people are shallow, and they have more respect for him and his video if he's wearing a suit. Now, he's probably dying, and there probably has a ton of sweat running down his back. But that's true. People are shallow. If you go to doing some kind of repair, if you don't use fancy enough tool, they're going to criticize you because it wasn't fancy enough. Like when I did the crankshaft alignment, I used a carpenter's tri-square for the initial alignment. Oh, people were upset about that, some of them. And some of them were upset that I used the bearing pullers, to set it on. But the only thing I can say is, it's not the tools you use, it's the results you get. When you finish the job, if everything is to spec, it doesn't matter if you used a ball peen, hammer, and a chisel. If it's to spec, it's on spec, right? Alright, so now shut off my mouth enough. And I think I told you guys I'm taking a couple of weeks break for the holidays. I'm pretty sure I did. And we'll see if we got a joke somewhere, and then I'll see you guys sometime in January. Take care and keep on keeping on. I'm back because I didn't really finish what I was saying about results. If you don't think that results is all that counts, the next time your boss sends you to do something and you don't achieve that, tell him, well, I tried. I remember telling one of my bosses that one time. He had given me some particular job to do, and it's on the computer system, and I had tried everything I knew and everything I could find out to accomplish what he wanted, and I didn't get there. And so I told him, I said, well, he said, what did you accomplish this week? And I said, nothing. I said, I tried everything I could. I can't do what you want done. He said, well, that's not good enough. And I said, well, I tried. He said, I'm not paying you to try. He said, I'm paying you to get results. So think about it. No matter what tool you use to get the results, the only part that counts is the results. I'm going to go now. Well, as everybody knows, Thibodeau lives down there in southern Louisiana, and he's got a little boy named Thibodeau Jr. Of course, they just call him Tebow for short. And Tebow's going on about 5 years old, and he had never said a word yet. And the whole family's kind of starting to worry about it, But one afternoon, they sat down there to supper, and, dished out stuff to everybody. And right out of the blue, little Tebow, he pops up with, hey, there's lumps in these dang potatoes. Everybody was just total shocked, And his mama, Marie, there, she says, Tebow, she says, you spoke. Tebow just looked at her, and she says, Tebow, she says, how come you ain't never said nothing before? Tebow says, well, up to now, everything's been all right. And last but not least, I'd like to thank all those viewers who keep coming back week after week all this time. You guys are what make the channel possible, and I certainly appreciate you spending your time viewing my videos with all the other things you could be doing. And we've come to the end of the year here, and taking a little time off, but I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And till next year, we all just keep on keeping on.